Hey, Eastside third graders, just wanted to take a minute to do this mini lesson with you and talk to you guys about why it's important to know how to do math in your head without writing it down on a piece of paper. We call that mental math. Today, we're going to talk about how everything, if we think about it in a base 10 situation, it's easier to do mental math. Even when you were in kindergarten, you started counting by tens. You went 10, 20, 30, 40. You were counting by tens. Tens are easy to count by. Even when you get up past 100, you can still do it pretty easily. So when we think about numbers, if we can get every number to be a 10, then it makes it a lot easier. Today, we're going to start by looking at this number grid. On this number grid, you'll notice that it counts up until 10. So the first 1 through 10 is on the first line, 11 through 20, 21 through 30. Each one of those lines would have 10 numbers on it. So if I'm simply counting, I could go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. Today, what I want to talk to you about is even if we're counting by tens, we don't always have to be on the 10 or the 20 or the 30 or so on. If we're on, say, number 7, for example, if we simply add 10 to that, saying that you're adding one group of 10, you would simply go down one group and end up at 17. Notice that when I have the number 7 is like this. There are 0 10s and 7 1s. If I want to add one group of 10, all I have to do is go from 0 up to 1. Keep the 7 the same. I didn't change anything in the ones place. I simply counted up by tens. Now, if I want to go up by tens again, if I want to add one more group of 10 to this right here, I can simply go from a 1 to a 2. Again, the ones place stays the same. Now I'm going to pick a different set of numbers. Say, for example, I want to be on number 44. I'm just going to say 44, but I want to subtract 10. If I want to subtract 10, then that means I need to go up the number chart instead of down because I need the numbers to get smaller. Keep in mind that when we subtract, we're taking away and the number becomes smaller. So that means that you have to go upwards on the number chart instead of down. So if I start on 44, keep in mind that that means there are 4 10s and 4 1s. If I say I just simply want to subtract 10, then all I have to do is take this 4 and make it a 3 because I'm subtracting one group of 10 and I'm jumping to that number there and I'm keeping the ones placed the same. Okay. Now, a lot of this is pretty simple when you're thinking about just skip counting by tens. You can go 10, 20, 30, but can you do 7, 17, 27, 37, 47, 57? That is the goal for you to understand that. The next thing that I want you to see is I want you to see that all of our numbers, we want to work real hard to get them to a base 10. And what that means is that if I am on the number 7, I know that from 7 until 10, that's 3 numbers. I'm going to have to erase some of this so that we have some room here. So let me erase this part right here. One moment. If I am on the number 7, then I simply add 3 to get to the number 10. So watch, 7, 1, 2, 3. That's all there that would be. To get from 7 to 10 is 1, 2, 3 jumps. Okay, so what I want every third grader to memorize is this. If I'm on 1, I have to add 9 to get to the number 10. If I am on the number 2 in the ones place, then I have to add an 8. If I am on a 3, then I would add 7. A 4, I would add 6. A 5 would be 5. 5 to 5 gets you to 10. Basically, what this means is if you think about 1 plus 9, that's 10. 2 plus 8, that's 10. 3 plus 7, that's 10. 4 plus 6, that's 10. 5 plus 5, that is 10. So whatever number you have in the ones place, think about what else it could go with. So if I have the number of, say, for example, 42, then I know that 2 is in my ones place. I'm going to look right up here. If I added 8 to that, it would get me to an even 50. And in my mind, I can count by tens easily. So whenever you're looking at math, I want you to think about how you can shift those numbers around so that they're easier to count by tens. Okay, let's go to the next slide. This is a problem that I want you to check out. I wrote down 83 plus 42. Now, sometimes that's hard just to do in your brain, but what I want you to look at is there's two different ways that we can do this. I broke it down into tens and ones. My sticks represent my 8 in the tens place. Those are those sticks. And the same with this. There are 4 sticks here that represents the 4 in the tens place. And then the 3 in the ones place are represented by these dots down here. Okay, that's those dots. Same with this over here. This 2 in the ones place is represented over here by those 2 dots. So you're used to doing the sticks for tens and the dots for ones place. What I want you to see today is how we're going to shift 83 plus 42 in our brain and be able to count by tens easily. So I'm going to take these 2 right here, and I'm going to shift those in my brain, and I'm going to make this, instead of be 83, it is now going to change the math problem to 85 plus 40. And I did this in my brain because it's easier for me to count by groups with 0 on the end, my tens, than it is by having ones there. So now I know that if I have 85 and I need to add 40, I simply can count in my head 85, 95, 105, 115, and 125, so that I know that the answer to this is 125. I didn't have to write the numbers up and down and redo the math that way. So that is simply 125. And all I did was I moved these in my brain over to add it to 83. Now look at the same problem a different way. I'm going to go to the next slide. 83 plus 42. Again, I represented it with the sticks and the dots to represent 10 ones, or 8 tens and 3 ones, and then 4 tens and 2 ones. This time, I'm going to take these 3 right here, and I'm going to shift them over here. Okay? I know how to count by 5s easily too, because that's what I learned in kindergarten. So if I do that and shift those 3 ones, then I end up having 80 over here, and I have 45 over here. Now, when I'm counting then by tens, I can go 45, 55, and I need to add, let me back up, I need to add 8 groups of 10. So if I have 45, then I can simply go 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, 105, and then 115. And then I have to simply add those 5. You end up getting the same answer you got on the other problem. Okay, that's totally up to you how you choose to do it. But mentally in my mind, I shift things so that I end up with a 0 in one spots instead of these 2s and 3s, because it's easier for us to do it mentally that way. Okay. This is the mini lesson for today. After this, you're going to move on to a class time assignment. And the class time assignment simply does exactly what we just did right here, where it says 83 plus 42. And how else could you represent that? I could represent it by 80 plus 45. So basically, you're going to answer some questions to say, how could you shift these numbers around? This simply makes it so that you can do mental math easily. Now, I know that your parents will say, this doesn't make any sense. I can quickly add that by simply rewriting this. And when I went to school, this is the way we did it. And that is correct. And that's fine if you want to do it that way. The reason why I'm starting with simple numbers is like this is because I'm teaching you that when you get bigger numbers, say when you get into the hundreds and the thousands, you still have this ability to shift these numbers around and make it yours and make you understand it better. That way you don't have to be at the grocery store finding a piece of paper to add numbers together. And instead, you can mentally do it in your head as fast as you can. You don't need to reach for your phone to get the calculator out. You can mentally do it in your head without thinking about it. Okay, so that is your mini lesson for today.